Welcome back to my final project, Environmental Exposure and Environmental Justice in Alaska Native Communities. We were just talking about everything that kind of has led up to this point in terms of environmental exposure and toxicity and how it is often a result of marginalization and policy, which leads us to this idea of environmental justice, which can possibly be the solution. Environmental justice really has to do with environmental empowerment, which is to empower Alaska Native communities through an environmental justice lens. The Environmental Protection Agency, the EPA, defines environmental justice as fair treatment and meaningful involvement of all people regardless of race, color, national origin, or income with respect to the development, implementation, and enforcement of environmental laws, regulations, and policies. This goal will be achieved when everyone enjoys 1. The same degree of protection from environmental health hazards, and 2. Equal access to the decision-making process to have a healthy environment in which to live, learn, and work. To do this, Elizabeth Kovacs suggests that there be a focus on women and women's health, as women suffer additional health problems as well as transmit contaminants to their babies during gestation and breastfeeding. She contends that remediation and reparations for affected groups are essential. In conclusion, traditional ecological indigenous knowledge in collaboration with Western scientific approaches can possibly provide much-needed solutions to how resources should be managed. Likewise, acute and chronic environmental exposure has similarly caused unnecessary harm to trauma to Alaska Native communities. Furthermore, lacking standardization of risk assessment of consumed contaminants from local to state to national and even international agencies has exacerbated disparities, brutalized many indigenous communities, and caused a lot of harm. Understanding these limitations can help design a plan of action and a new and hopeful course of action to aid marginalized communities who have been oppressed through land distribution, lacking healthcare, suppression of traditional knowledge, and practices, as well as oppressed in the name of cultural sensitivity to such matters. The goal is for much-needed relief to be provided to the Alaska Native communities that have fallen victim to disaster capitalism and environmental exposure until the causation can be mitigated. By empowering the affected communities and providing necessary resources as they see fit, there is hope to minimize, if not mitigate, environmental exposures that have been the result of systemic oppression in the form of marginalization and environmental abuse. We can empower these communities by employing the environmental justice lens and create policies with members of communities informing laws and practices while sitting next to lawmakers at the table. When the voice and presence meet this power, we will begin to see substantial change, and most specifically, healing. I had the great honor to learn under and study and be with Chief Peter John of the Athabascan community of Minto in interior Alaska. And he used to say, "Give whatever you got, and you'll get in return something better than what you give." You believe that? You got to share. That's true. That is the old Indian way. That is what we are taught. Thank you very much, and I hope to see you in the healing process.